Have you ever dreamed so hard that the next day you thought your dream was reality? If yes, what was your dream? I once broke the news to my family that our next door neighbor had died. A couple of days later I had to explain that I was mistaken and that she is alive and well. I dreamed my dog was at my brother's house, being neglected by my brother and harassed by his little kids. I woke up angry, pissed that I was going to have to drive in the rain to get my dog and bring him home. For probably a full minute I just lay in bed, absolutely fuming. Then I remembered that my dog had died almost 10 years ago. It was like being punched in the gut. Not only was I sad about my dog, but I was also really disturbed and disoriented. It felt like my brain had malfunctioned. The feeling of being disconnected from my mind. It was a scary thing. I've had dreams where the places I go feel so familiar. I wake up and wonder if they may actually exist. Keep dreaming about meeting up with different friends and family to hang out, and then we end up shopping in a store. Same specific store, same setup and merch. Different dreams throughout the years though. Never been to a store like that in real life though. Same thing for me. I have had multiple dreams, all with different plot lines, so not exactly recurring, at the same shopping mall which doesn't exist. I had a dream that I fell off of a cliff and was heading for solid ground. I had heard that you usually wake up right before you hit the ground, but not me. I hit the ground and everything went black. I remember my eyes were closed shut and I kept asking myself, am I dead? I woke up in my bed and thought I was a ghost who didn't move on into the afterlife and that I was stuck in purgatory or something. Needless to say, my mom was weirded out when I asked her if I was dead with a dead serious face. I still remember that years later. Yes, I was studying Rhapsody in Blue at the time, and there's this tricky repeated note passage near the end that I just couldn't get. One night I dreamed that I absolutely nailed it. Next day, I thought it was something that actually happened. Went around cocky and not practicing until sometime around noon when I realized that it was a dream and I was an idiot. Surprised no one else has mentioned this. I haven't had a cigarette in 19 years. Numerous times I've dreamt that I had one and it led to weeks in the dream of being a smoker again. I've woken up bummed out about it, but with a reluctant acceptance about it. Like, well, I'm back at it. Might as well be back at it attitude that is hard to shake. My fiance died a week ago at age 33. Every night I dream he's alive, and every morning I look for him and have to remember he is gone and not coming home. Sometimes multiple times a day because my sleep is erratic. It was the same for the weeks of his hospitalization. I don't know if I want the dreams to end or not. I had a dream my mom called me to tell me my childhood neighbor died. I didn't realize it was a dream until 6 months later when I was home for the holidays and saw her alive. Yeah, it happens a surprising amount. My brain likes to take information and predictions on how my day will go that I made the previous day and use it in dreams. Probably the most recent and memorable ones is when I had dreamed about starting one of my major yearly projects, only to realize halfway through my day that I had dreamed about it and had yet to start. It isn't a particularly fun phenomenon, as it confuses me more often than not. I can distinguish the realistic ones that are implausible, like ones that involve action movie-like scenarios, almost immediately upon waking, but the subtle shit mixes with the other things I can recall about that specific scenario, and is harder to distinguish, because it's usually a small thing that's entirely plausible. I sometimes have super intense action dreams where a good friend and I are up against the world in some dire, overused Hollywood plot, conspiracy thrillers, taking down billionaires in covert missions, overthrowing a corrupt politician. It's all there. I know they are not real, but it makes me feel a little more empowered when I wake up to make the coffee. My grandma, who had been dead 4 years at this point, shows up in my dreams at her house. I even told her, "You're dead," but she insisted she was not. Upon waking, it was a long moment of rational thinking to remember she was gone. Last night I had a very vivid dream that I was happily married to the love of my life. This morning I woke up and after a minute of confusion felt extraordinarily lonely. Now that I think about it, This exact thing has happened several times in the past several years. Had a dream a few years ago that grandma died. Woke up crying and called her. Didn't get an answer because she was asleep. Started freaking out and asked mom if grandma was okay. Mom laughed at me. I got a call from grandma after she had woken up and saw that I tried to call her. She was perfectly fine. Every night I have hyper-realistic dreams. Sometimes it's me in a huge spaceship entering a new world to colonize it. Other times it's about ghosts crawling out of holes in the walls. Both I can tell when I wake up were dreams. But there are some. Sweet bees, are they annoying? They're just me at work, and I move some bottles to another shelf. When I go to work the following day, I go to the shelf to get them. No bottles. It was a dream. Or I'll have a conversation with someone, and only when I reference it do I realize it was a dream. Every night I dream so vividly. I hate it 95% of the time, because I always wake up feeling exhausted, either emotionally or mentally. I even asked my doctor once if there is medication to prevent me from dreaming. I remember dreams from years ago that pop into my head randomly like their memories. I wish I could sleep and not dream. I've had such astoundingly vivid dreams. If I could adequately capture them in writing, I'd have at least one bestseller. End of the world dreams. Magical abilities from nature, not wants, and fighting evil witches dreams. Invasion dreams. Haunting/possession dreams. Pregnant and everyone is trying to steal my baby dreams. Horrible deaths of loved ones. Escape from crazed murderers dreams. Recurring, creepy, inescapable house in the woods dreams. Dreams where I'm the crazed murderer. Some of these dreams are so incredibly detailed and cover such a massive amount of time. If I had the ability to transfer it accurately enough, I'd have some killer book series to my name. But alas, I've never written any of them down, and my descriptions pale in comparison. For me, it's usually only the sad dreams that stick with me and take a bit to shake off after waking up. I had a dream of my phone breaking by accident, and then woke up and say, oh no, my phone broke. Right then, one of my flatmates asked me where, and as I look at the phone I stutter and say, I think it was dream. I also dream I'm at work. Like, lots of times. It's exhausting. I have had dreams where I'm at work and they seem so damn real. I actually had a work nightmare come true. I had this nightmare that I would not realize I was scheduled and not show up to work. I actually had that happen a couple years ago. I made it in after my boss was like, hey, where the hell are you? When I was 5/6, I had a dream that me, my parents and siblings were on our way home from a caravan holiday and one of our tires blew. We waited at a little chef's restaurant for someone to pick us up. A car service didn't pick us up. A lorry picked us up and put the car in the back of it and took us home. A couple years again I asked both my parents if they remembered, and they didn't have a clue what I was on about. I once dreamed I had a son and I have to go get him from school, but I couldn't get there in time. When I woke up I etched the number of his mother in my phone to let her know I couldn't get there in time. It took a minute before I realized I don't have a GF or a son. I was 17 at the time. I dreamed that everything was fine with me and my now ex-GF. She never cheated and left me here in this godforsaken country. We were happy and everything was on track for our life plans. I hadn't felt so peaceful and hopeful in a very long time. Took me about 3 minutes to realize it was only a dream. I dreamt that my sister was dead. I was absolutely devastated and woke myself up crying. I was so disorientated for a minute or so. My grounding moment and back to reality was that I didn't remember going to the funeral, so she must be alive. Have you ever had a dream that you had, you could, you'll do, you once, you could do so, you'll do, you could you want them to do so much you could do anything? Wisconsin had its first elk hunt 2 years ago. I've been hunting whitetails for 12 years. There's a very small lottery for elk tags. I applied and that night I dreamt I was pulled and started preparing immediately. Woke up and spent a good 5 minutes researching on Google when I realized it wasn't real. Totally crushed. I've had 2 dreams like this. The first one I was flying much like Superman would fly. It felt so amazing to be able to fly with just a thought, and at nearly any speed too. The disappointment when I woke up hit me so hard that I literally started to tear up. The second dream was less intense. I dreamed that I had the Force. I don't really remember anything else except for confusion when I couldn't use the Force to turn off my alarm clock. It happened to me when I was on cardiac medication that caused sleeping issues as side effect. I had super realistic dream about my ex-boyfriend cheating on me and bragging about it everywhere with his new girl. When I woke up, I was genuinely sad and almost had tears in my eyes. But after a minute I realized it was just a dream. Day after that I had a dream that I was stabbed to death by some creep I was running away from. Or another time I woke up waving hands around my head because I thought that wasps are attacking me. Dreams were so realistic. I was even little afraid of going to sleep. Buying $1,000 of Bitcoin in 2010. I killed people in my dream and stuffed their phone in their mouth. When I woke up, I felt an intense sense of guilt and checked my room for bodies. After about a minute, I realized that was highly improbable. And yes, I'm a dumbass. I had to put one of my cats to sleep last July, and I've had 2 dreams since where I woke up thinking I still had her. Funnily enough, the dreams usually had the theme of wow, she's so laid back and easy to take care of now. She was very skittish and picky in reality, but then I woke up and yup, so easy to take care of because I literally don't have to anymore. I miss her a lot. I hope she's chilling somewhere and happy now. I dreamt of eating buffet of meats. I woke up with saliva coming out of my mouth, like I can smell and taste the meats. I waited till lunch, got out to my favorite meat buffet restaurant, just to find out it is closed BCS of quarantine despite of my government allows restaurants to open, since they are necessity sector. I was pissed off the whole day. Fuck that dream. I've had many. The most memorable one is one when my dog had recently passed away. In my dream I had woken up from my sleep to see my dog at the edge of my bed. It felt natural and calming. I let him up on my to sleep with me and I woke up with tears running down my face. I was so happy that I was able to see him. Even if it was just a dream. I'll always love you, Baba boy. It's a repost, but in short, I had what felt like a really long dream that I was living in Italy. Now, obviously it was just a dream and couldn't have happened because I was just an average American in my early 20s at the time living in the bumduck countryside. But it felt so real. I had a full-time job in my dream. Can't recall what job though, and even remember that I was invited to some party after a day of work. I had 2 pet dogs in my dream. One a Chihuahua and one a mix that I can't recall. I was living alone, but generally enjoying my life in Italy. Again, it was all just a dream, but it felt so freaking weird waking up and realizing it wasn't all real. That I was still in my messy bedroom in my parents' home. I had a mild panic attack when I woke up utterly confused at what the heck happened. For a brief moment, I genuinely thought that I was actually in Italy and that me being in my parents' home was the actual dream. It's been years since then, and I'm nowhere near Italy or even have plans on going to Italy, but I still think about that dream at times. The old showing up to class naked from the waist down. It was so vivid that I didn't show up to class for a week and almost got kicked out of the program. I used to have these very vivid dreams about secret rooms in our family house since I was little. I haven't seen them in a while, but the same rooms existed many times in my dreams. Often after I had woken up I would go and look for those rooms, but they had vanished. I even told my parents that we had a secret room that had an entrance in their bedroom closet, but when we went to look at it nothing was there. They felt so real. Dreamed I got exactly 74% on a test. Got exactly 74%. All the time. It's very confusing. I have real relationships in my dreams and kind of miss them when I'm awake. I lucid dream a lot too. I wake up feeling like I've done a full day's work already. I don't have many friends. I had a dream recently where I went on a holiday somewhere, met 2 friends, but I've forgotten their names now. The dream was so real that I actually tried to message them after I woke up. It took me a frighteningly long time. to realize I dreamed them up. One of the saddest mornings of my life. Lots and lots of dreams about doing chores that I was supposed to be doing before I fell asleep, only to wake up and realize that the trash had not, in fact, been taken out and the collection truck has already been passed. There was also a really vivid dream I had about my ex and I going to the park and sitting in front of a bonfire. Took a few moments after waking up to realize that couldn't have happened because our park is full of cat shit and used needles. Was almost a good morning, I guess. Kind of a dream. I passed out in the bathroom one time only for a few seconds. During those few seconds I dreamt that my brother came into the bathroom and pushed me and I fell into the tub. Then I woke up in the tub and went to fight with my brother screaming at him why he pushed me. Turns out I passed out and everyone freaked out. My granddad died January 2020. Each week I dreamed that he was alive and well and actually believed it when I woke up. I once had a dream there was Eggo waffles in the freezer. I was so excited to have some the next morning, only to find out I'd been lied to. I was with a girl I really liked and we hugged and slept together. No sex, just hugging and sleeping. And then I woke up alone. This was made with depression. I dreamt that I had forgotten to schedule a meeting for my boss. I ran into work early the next day and sent out a meeting invite to my boss and the clients concerned. My boss came into work and asked me what I was doing. I then explained he had asked me to set this meeting up yesterday and that he could send me the documents he needed printed. Midway through explaining this, I realized it was, in fact, a dream. He was not pleased. I dreamt that I woke up and talked to my boyfriend about specific things. When I woke up I felt like my brain had a blue screen. I did not know what was real and what was not. I was terrified and felt so extremely stupid having to ask my boyfriend if we really had a talk in the middle of the night. He was confused too, but I was starting to think my brain was broken or I had dementia or something. I once thought me and my Russian friend I met on Discord, perks of internet and gaming, actually spent a real life day together. When I woke up I had to seriously think about what actually happened and didn't. Multiple times. I'm on Pristic, which causes vivid dreams. I've had some of the strangest dreams and often the only way I can tell they never happened is because they are not able to be real. i.e. dreaming of being made into a human sacrifice by tall, thin, grotesque creatures. Sometimes though the dreams are plausible. Once I had to ask my brother multiple times if he was sick because I had such a vivid dream that he had gastro. Another, I became convinced that my mother had had a nervous breakdown in our dining room, only to learn she had never been inside a house that day, let alone had a nervous breakdown. Have you ever been the partner of someone who dreamed so hard that they thought it was really and are angry at you for something you did in their dream? Yes. Dreamt my grandmother passed away and I was bent over her coffin crying my eyes out. Turned out it was a dream and I was sobbing and crying loudly in bed, tears rolling down my face. I woke up and was immediately confused. Once I thought that I'm driving a Tesla and right after 2 weeks my dad gifted me a Tesla car on my birthday. Just had this happen 2 nights ago. It's super boring, but I guess that's how realistic dreams often are. The dream took place in my bedroom and it was exactly my bedroom. Sometimes in dreams you think you're in one place, but it looks somewhat different. But this was my bedroom to a T, so that alone made things extremely real. I looked up just above the window and saw part of the wall appearing, as though it was peeling off, and then looked up and realized part of the roof blew off. I remember thinking that I need to call a roofer and I literally woke up thinking the same thing. I almost reached for my phone before realizing it was a dream. I was asleep in an old farmhouse that's a few hundred years old and dreamt of the place. I had no idea how it would have looked in the past, but it was all newer in a decor of time past and there were these well-to-do ladies and some servants taking care of things for them. Then I sat and played with them, being only young at the time. Later the owner showed us some photos and it seemed to match almost exactly the dream. I don't know how I knew how it should have looked. etc, but yeah, a bit odd to say the least. Please click subscribe if you enjoyed this video.